Sir, Manaprakash sir, am I audible to you?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. You are audible.
Thank you.
And we will wait for Ravinder to join, and once he joins, we will start the session now. Okay. Ma'am, shall we start? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. Today's speaker is Dr. R. Srilakshmi. Dr. R. Srilakshmi has completed her PhD from IIT Hyderabad, and she has a total 10 years of experience in teaching. She worked for a period of 3 years at IIITDM Kurnool. Currently, she is working at SVNIT as an assistant professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering. Her research areas are fracture mechanics, dynamic analysis of composite panels, and finite element analysis. She has published 5 international journals and 7 international conferences. She got an Outstanding Academic Performance Award in the year 2012. So, with this introduction, I would like to hand over the session to Dr. Srilakshmi. Ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for introducing about me.
Thank you.
So, good afternoon to all participants. So, I am going to talk about robot kinematics, like forward kinematics and inverse kinematics. So, today and tomorrow morning, I am going to discuss about the robot kinematics. So, you all know about the kinematics. So, kinematics is, so what is kinematics? Kinematics is the study of motion of the objects or science of motion without considering the effect of forces that causes the motion. So here I am going to discuss about the robot kinematics. Yes. So motion of points or bodies, objects and system of bodies without considering the effect of forces. So here in robot kinematics, we are going to study about what is joints, links, and what are the parameters that control the motion of the mechanism. Okay, so these are the topics I'm going to discuss. So I'm going to explain about some basic joints which are used in different types of mechanisms and forward I will discuss about what is forward kinematics, and I will differentiate forward kinematics and inverse kinematics, and next I'll discuss about the kinematic parameters like link parameters, joint parameters. Okay, so and I'll explain about the Danavitt-Hartenberg representation. So for forward kinematics problem to explain, first initially I'll explain about Danavitt-Hartenberg representation. So it includes like 4 parameters, like combination of joint and link parameters. So that I will discuss, and then some few examples. So how to find this Danavitt-Hartenberg parameters for the RRR mechanism and PUMA 560. So this all you might have seen morning session. Sir has explained very clearly about the robotics. So robotics is like emerging. It is used in material handling and manufacturing. So here this when we see the robotics, so it involves like kinematics as well as dynamics. Okay, so initially I will start with the like basic, from the basic joints to the motion of the end effector. So using forward kinematic principles. So this all you might have heard revolute joints. So uh, revolute joint is a so here revolute joint is nothing but it is like so if your two links are connected, okay, so what does it mean of revolute joint? Anyone can tell me? Or pin joint,
Yeah.
so it is also called pin joint.
So can someone from the audience can tell what is revolute joint?
Okay,
Yeah.
so revolute joint is used like it is a pin joint. It allows the rotation between the two links. So it allows the rotation between the two links. So here we are going to use like revolute joints, prismatic joints, spherical joints. Combination of those joints, we are going to study about the mechanism. So like mechanism is like assembly of number of links. So you might have studied in kinematics. So it is like a closed loop, closed loop, closed loop mechanism and open loop mechanism. So here closed loop mechanism is called like it is called kinematic chain. Open loop one is called a serial mechanism. Okay, so in the mechanisms we'll use the different types of joints and links. Okay, so here first revolute joint is it allows the rotation of one link with respect to the other. So the degree of freedom is presentation is not visible. Praveen Kumar, Mr. Praveen
No,
Kumar.
ma'am, it's visible actually.
Okay. Okay. So here when I see the degree of freedom, degrees for any mechanism or for any pair, kinematic pairs, degree of freedom is very important. So degree of freedom is nothing but so it is number of independent parameters. Number of independent parameters that describes or are number of independent variables. Number of independent variables or coordinates required to specify the configuration of the mechanical system. So that is called the degree of freedom. So here when we see the revolute joint, the number of degrees of freedom are 1. Similarly, prismatic joint, it is 1 degrees of freedom. Spherical joint. So if you see this is like a sphere. So inside so it forms like any example, can you give any example for spherical joint? Spherical joint. So like hinge joint is example for revolute joint, like simple the like a hinge used to attach the door to the frame. Prismatic joint is it is like a piston and cylinder. Spherical joint is like any example, like in our human body itself. So
Ball and socket joint, ma'am. Ball and socket.
yes, ball and socket joint. Ball and socket joint. The shoulder and hip joints. Okay, so that is an example for spherical joints. So here, can you degrees of freedom of spherical joint is 3. So whereas prismatic and revolute joint is 1. So can you tell me these are some other types of joints? cylindrical joint, screw joint, planar joint. So can you tell me the degrees of freedom of this screw joint? So I will give you poll. I'll start you poll. So screw joint is like I am telling the degrees of freedom is 2. So can you poll? I'll give true or false.
And the participants, if you think the screw joint has 2 degrees of freedom, say true. Otherwise, say false. Okay.
Yes. Yes. So if the screw joint has degrees of freedom is true, you need to say true. So otherwise, so you have to. Okay. So here answer is so it is false. Actually, the screw joint has 1 degree of freedom. Screw joint has 1 degree of freedom. So, so true is not correct. Okay. So false is the correct answer. So we'll see the forward kinematics in coming slides. I'll explain about this kinematics of Puma 560, which is having 6 revolute joints. So this class mostly I will be discussing about the revolute joints. The revolute joints. So kinematics of revolute joints. Okay, so it is the degree of freedom of this Puma 560 is 6. Okay, so let us come to the definition, like what is forward kinematics, what is inverse kinematics. So forward kinematics is nothing but in forward kinematics we need to give the length of each link and angle of each joint. So we are going to find the position of the end effector. Suppose here there is some manipulator. Okay, so we are going to give the link length, and like joint parameters, and we are going to find the position of the end effector, position of the tool, or position of the end effector. So that is called the forward or direct kinematics. So the length of each link and angle of each joint is given. Okay, so we know those parameters, but we need to find out the position of the end effector. So that we are going to use the forward kinematic approach. So to find the uh, position of the end effector. So we are going to see some parameters also, like joint parameters, link parameters, to study about forward kinematic problem. So already in morning class, sir has explained about the transformations. So that we are going to use. So transformation by okay. So position of the frames. So like we'll assume like this, as a rigid links, and at each joint we have coordinate frames. Okay, so by transforming the coordinates, okay, by the transformation approach, we are going to find the position of the end effector. So like coordinates of the end effector. Okay, so in inverse kinematics approach, so we are going to give the length of each link and position of the, so like position of some point on the robot. So we are going to find the joint angles of each joint. Okay, so angles of each joint we are going to find in the inverse kinematics. In forward kinematic problem, we are going to give the length of each, so the length of each link and the angle of each joint, like a joint parameter and link parameter. So we are going to find the position of the end effector with respect to the base. Okay, so we are going to assume one chord, so like different frame. So one frame we are assuming it as a base. So with respect to the base, we are going to find the position of the end effector. Okay. So in inverse kinematic problem, the length of the each link and the position of some point on the robot is given, and we are going to find the angles of each joint, so to obtain the position, to obtain that position. So we are going to like joint angles theta 1, theta 2, theta 3. Okay. So here we have like a robot arm. Okay. So these are the coordinates, coordinate axis. So sorry, axis, x naught axis and y naught. So you can tell the position. So like so suppose I know the link length. First link is L1, second link length is L2. So I can write the expression for, so suppose this is like O A B. Okay, so like by using simple equations, so I can define this position. So like some XB and YB. Okay, but if the link, so this is the for particular position. So but if mechanism or a robot, so we, if the manipulator is consists of number of links, so like if the mechanism consists of number of links, number of revolute joints, prismatic joints, spherical joints, so in that situation it is difficult to find each. So for one position, this is like I'll write like xb equal to, so roughly I am going to write xb equal to L1 cos theta. Okay, so this angle I need to calculate. Okay, so let us assume some pi 1 or something. So I will calculate for one position, but for different positions. Okay, so like with the different joints, so it will be like a complex problem. So we are going to use the David-Hartenberg representation. Okay, so position of the end of the robot arm. So how we can find it? So it is like a geometric approach means. So here angles are measured relative to the direction of the previous link, and like the angle is measured relative to the initial position. Okay, so then we can go to for more number of links, like so it is like a arm extend into 3 dimensions. Then this geometry, by seeing the geometry we can't identify the position of the end effector. Okay, so another approach is like algebraic approach is like by using the coordinate transformations, so which we have seen in the morning class. sir has explained. So by using coordinate transformations, we are going to see. Oh yeah, so we are going to find the position of the end of the robotic arm. So here, like we have a 3-link arm. Okay, so that starts out aligned in the x-axis. Each link has links L1, L2, L3 respectively. Then you can tell that the first one has to move by an angle theta 1 and so on, like theta 1, theta 2, theta 3. Then you can apply as described in the previous by using the homogeneous coordinate transformations. You can find the position of the end point, end position, end of the robotic arm. Okay, so here, so initially we can consider this as a base. So it is rotated by an angle theta 1. So you can apply the rotation matrix, translation matrix, and again with respect to this coordinate system, sorry, like different frames. So as a morning sir has discussed, you can consider like a different frames with different coordinates. So like x1, y1 and x. So this is the base. With respect to x0, y0, you need to find out. Okay, so by applying the transformation process. Okay, so here, so I can conclude that in the from this slide, this link is rotated by theta 1. Okay, so respect in the frame x1 and y1. Okay, x1, y1, and then this link one is so this it is translated. So this position is translated through uh, along x-axis by distance L1, and then this when I consider this joint, okay, so at this position, so here link 2 is rotated by an angle theta 2 with respect to the frame x2 y2. So like that again it is translated in the along x2 frame, x2 axis by length L2. Next again this if I consider the frame x3 y3, so link 3 is rotated by an angle theta 3 with respect to x3 y3 frame, and then it is translated by distance L3. So okay, so like that you can apply the transformation. So by using the homogeneous matrix, you can find out the position of with respect to the frame. Okay, now we'll see about the Danavitt-Hartenberg parameters. So this shows like two successive links. So there are Danavitt-Hartenberg. He has he has described the four parameters. Four parameters. So like so he has described like two link parameters and two joint parameters. So we'll see one by one. So first one is, let me explain, theta I and di. So these are the two successive links. So why we are studying about this? In just now we have seen to find the position of the end effector by using the transformation matrix. Okay, so we know the position. So like we know the link length. Okay, So in forward kinematics problem, we know the link parameters and joint parameters. We are going to find the position of the end effector. So I have taken the two successive links like link I minus 1 and so sorry. So this is the link I minus 1. Yes. So I minus 1 and these are the joints. Okay. Joints. So just now we have seen what are the different types of joints, revolute joints, prismatic joints. So based on the application, okay. So based on that mechanism, we can consider that joint axis. So let us consider the link I minus 1. Okay. So and joint, it is a link I minus 1 is connected to link I by joint I and I minus 2. So it is connected by another joint like base. Now in this link parameters describes the relative position and orientation. So like relative position, I am going to discuss firstly di theta I. Discuss the relative position and orientation of two successive joints. Remember carefully. So if you understand these, what are the four parameters, you can easily develop. Okay, do the forward kinematic analysis. Okay, so for any number of mechanisms, so you can apply this Danavitt-Hartenberg notation. So but you need to understand what is the joint angle, what is joint distance, what is link length and link twist angle. So these are the four parameters. Okay, so here we have considered the I'm explaining Danavitt-Hartenberg parameters. So Danavitt-Hartenberg parameters are, I said, four parameters. So what are those four parameters? I'll explain one by one. Okay, what is alpha? What is okay? So I'm going to explain four parameters are joint angle like joint parameters and joint distance, joint distance. And another one is link parameters. Link parameters are this is the link parameters like link twist. So sorry, this is joint parameters, link length and link twist angle. Link twist. So these are the link parameters. So now we'll see first joint parameters like joint angle and link offset, like link offset or joint distance. So now you need to understand I have taken two successive joints. So two successive joints. So two successive joints and this joint parameters. What are the joint parameters? Joint parameters are di and theta I. Okay. So this joint parameters gives the relative position and orientation of the two successive links. Okay. So joint parameters describes the gives the relation between the two successive links. Link I and link I minus 1 are defined by this joint parameters like joint angle theta I and joint distance. So it is also called like link offset distance. Okay. So now let me define what is theta I. Theta I is like how much we have rotated. So already I mentioned these parameters describes the relative position and orientation of the two links, two successive links. Okay, so here joint angle is the nothing but how much, so like we have rotated. So before that we will see the axis. So this is the joint axis I minus 1, this is axis I. So let me show another picture. So like the frame axis. So this is the first joint, second joint. So here link I minus 1 and link I. Okay. So here this is the coordinate axis, coordinate frame. Xi minus 1, yi minus 1, zi minus 1. Always you remember in this kinematic for analysis, z axis represents the joint axis. Okay, joint axis. So here zi minus 1 and zi. Okay, so zi minus 1 axis is parallel to the it is not parallel. Joint angle represents the rotation or angle turned by the xi minus 1, angle turned by the xi minus 1 to xi. Okay, so that angle is called with respect to the zi minus 1 axis. So if you remember these parameters, it is easy to understand problems. So what is the theta? Theta is the angle rotated by, or angle turned by the, so how much angle is rotated from I minus 1 to xi. So that is called the joint angle. So that is with respect to the z I minus 1 axis. So suppose there is two links are there. So let us assume two links. Okay. So link 1. So this is link 1, link 2. So initially the axis, z axis is, let us assume roughly z1 here. It is like z2. Axis x1. Okay. So I am going to construct like roughly x2. So here theta represents the angle turned by the link. Okay. Angle turned by the link to the angle or angle between the x2 and x1 with respect to z1. That is called the link joint angle. Is it clear? So angle and joint distance is nothing but how much the joint. So like we have to move from I minus 1 to I minus 1. So this is the axis. So I minus 1, xi minus 1 to xi. Okay, xi. So along z axis. So that is called the joint distance. So it gives the relative position and orientation of two successive links. Is it clear? So suppose you take the two successive links, link I minus 1 and link I. Okay. So how much we have to rotate xi minus 1 to match with the xi. So that angle is called the joint angle theta I. Okay. So how much we have to move this plane? Sorry, this uh, plane like xi minus 1, xi minus 1 to xi along. So it is always with respect to z. So here we are not considering y. So that is called d. That is called joint distance or link offset di. Okay, another two parameters are link length ai and link twist alpha I minus 1. So here this is a link. So let us take the here I already said joint parameters describes the relative position and orientation of two successive links, whereas link parameters describes the relative position and orientation of two successive joints. So link length here, between the distance between the two joints is called the ai minus 1, whereas link twist is nothing but rotation of the zi minus 1 axis to zi axis about the with respect to x, with respect to xi axis. So now zi axis is rotated, zi minus 1 axis is rotated to zi through an angle alpha I minus 1. This is called link twist angle. Okay, so these are the parameters, dh parameters. What are the dh parameters? Joint parameters and link parameters. Joint parameters are theta d and link parameters are like what are those? A and alpha. Okay, so these parameters are constant. Am I correct? So if you see a I minus 1, okay, per distance between the two joints is constant and alpha is also constant. But if suppose revolute joint, theta is the variable. If it is prismatic joint, d is the variable. Okay, so is it clear? What are the dh parameters? Dh parameters are, so one more thing, this ai minus 1, ai minus 1 is distance between zi minus 1 and zi along the common normal between the axis of the joints. So you should remember that ai minus 1 is the distance, offset distance between the zi minus 1 and zi, okay, I minus 1, uh, zi minus 1 and zi with respect to axis xi along the common normal between the axis, along the common normal. Okay, so you need to remember that along the common normal between the axis. Okay, so these are the 4 parameters, kinematic parameters. So that means suppose I have two links. Okay, so between the two joints we have, we'll consider 4 parameters. Okay, 2 successive joints and 2 successive links. Like that, we have n axis robot. So like we have 2 axes, like 2 frames. Then in that case, we have n parameters. We need to find out n parameters. So like that, we have, sorry, we have 4 parameters between 2 frames. We have n axis. So like this, we have n axis. In that case, we have 4n kinematic parameters. Okay, so for in 4n kinematic parameters needed to specify the kinematic configuration of the robot. So suppose, as I said, if it is prismatic joint, d is the variable. If it is revolute joint, theta is the variable. So these are constant. That means I can say, so suppose 4n kinematic parameters, then n parameters are the variables, 3n are constant. So these are the steps involved in Dennavit-Hartenberg representation. So Dennavit-Hartenberg came up with a methodology, okay, for getting systematic kinematic analysis of serial linkages. So these, by using these 4 parameters. Okay, so we'll see how this, by using this approach, how we'll do the kinematic analysis. Okay, so identify. So first step, I need to identify the joint axis. Okay, so and draw the joint axis, and then next step is identify the common perpendicular between the point of intersection. Okay, so and then that means you need to find out this 4 parameters. So first step is like I can say kinematic analysis involves 3 main steps. So what are those? First step is assigning the coordinates. Okay, so assigning the link frames. So like assigning or identifying the joint axis and assigning the coordinate frames or link frames. Sorry, assign the link frames. Then next assign the z, x, y axis. So here we are going to use right hand rule. Right hand rule. So one more thing, counterclockwise we are considering it as positive and clockwise as negative. Okay, we'll see rotation. So suppose I have 2 frames. Okay, so frame 1 and this is frame 2. So this is my zi and zi minus 1, here zi. So the angle of rotation, okay, angle turn from this joint to the joint. Okay, so that angle between the z I minus 1 and z I is called d or alpha. Hmm? This alpha. So this alpha. So suppose I need to uh, consider the direction of rotation. So by using the right hand rule, right hand thumb rule, or right hand screw rule. Okay, so you can use that and we'll see one problem and then you can understand. Then assign the x-axis pointing along the common perpendicular. So if the axis intersect xi to be normal to the xi vector is normal to the plane containing the two axes. Assign the y axis to compute right hand coordinate system. And then from the base, so like there is some uh, mechanism like open chain mechanism. From the base, okay, that means 0 to, okay, and like to match 1 when the first joint variable is 0. Okay, so here joint variables are 0. So like that we need to do for n, okay, n links. So we'll see one problem you can understand. So here you can also see the transformation of so using the DH parameters and we are so we'll see these steps then you will understand. Okay, so first we are going to allocate assigning the coordinate frames like assigning the link frame origin and axis, and then we are going to find the DH parameters, link parameters like joint parameters, and we'll apply the transformation process. Transformation using the transformation matrix approach, we are going to find the final position of the end effector. So if suppose according to forward kinematic problem, I know all the angles link lengths. So I can find out the final position. Okay. So for any given robot, this transformation will be a function of only one variable. The other 3 parameters being fixed by the mechanical design. As I said already, we have 4 parameters. So in 4 parameters, if it is revolute joint, theta is the variable. If it is prismatic joint, uh, d is the variable. So other 3 parameters are fixed by or constant. Okay, so by defining a frame for each link, the kinematic problem is broken into sub problems. So to solve sub problems, again it is divided into sub problems. So then we'll apply the transformation matrix and transformation matrix transformation will be only function of one link parameter. So we'll find out the transformation matrix complete, like we have 6 links. Okay. Okay, 6 links. So we have with respect to the base frame. Okay, base. So we have found out the transformation matrix. But this transformation matrix is function of only one link parameter, either theta or d. Okay, so then we'll find out the position. So here this is the process already morning you might have understood the transformation matrices. So transformation matrix, a translation matrix. Okay. So here let us see, like consider 3 intermediate frames P, Q, R. Okay. So P, R. So here it is rotated through an angle alpha I minus 1 with respect to uh, x-axis. Okay, z-axis. Zi minus n is rotated to zi with respect to x-axis. So that we are going to draw, or we are going to write it as one transformation matrix. Next, it is translated. So like distance, common distance on the common normal between the zi minus 1 and zi axis. So that translation matrix you need to multiply. And then rotation of the xi minus 1 to xi. So that angle is called joined. Okay. So that is one translation rotation matrix. And then the distance. Okay, distance like xi minus 1 to xi along the z axis. So that is one translation matrix. And okay, so this is the position vectors. So I'll get if I multiply all these 4 translation matrices, I'll get this final translation matrix, that is ti minus 1. Okay, ti minus 1 into P. So if I multiply all these matrices, this is the expression formula. So like you can remember T I to I minus 1. So you can check like 4 transformation matrices. What are those? Theta is with respect to x or z. Can you anybody unmute and tell? Or theta is with respect to z axis. Theta is with respect to z axis, and alpha is with respect to x axis. Okay, so rotation of z. So then you can write like for z axis, you know, translation matrix. Okay, 0, 0, 1. So homogeneous transformation matrix you can apply. Then into like translation with respect to like what is that distance, like di. So you know what is the translation matrix. And then rotation with respect to x-axis. So that is alpha I minus 1. So x-axis means what is the equation? Have you remember? This equation is rotation matrix equation is like 1, 0, 0, 0, 0 cos theta sin minus sin theta cos. So that you need to remember. Okay. So we'll see simple RR like RRR mechanism. Okay, revolute joints with 3 revolute joints. So let me explain one problem. So this is the example. Okay, I have not shared my screen. So either you can use this, or I'll explain another problem. So this is the 3 revolute joints. So is it clear? Is it visible? 3 revolute joints.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. It's visible.
Okay, so let us consider 3 revolute joints here. This represents the end effector. So I have assumed the position. So like from the base to the first joint is like second joint is at L1, L2, L3. So now what is the first step? So for any problem to do or to perform kinematic forward kinematic analysis, we are going to use DH representation. So what is the first step? So I need to assign the frame. So before that, I will assign the axis, and then I'll assign the frames. Okay. So first, uh, 1 minute. So first step is you need to assign the So first step is you need to assign the joints. So how many joints I said? 3 joints. So like 3 joints, 1, 2, 3, and effector. Okay. So next step is like frames. So you need to assign the frames. So what are the frames? So this is like a base frame. So base frame I am defining like X naught, Y naught, Z naught. So mostly we'll use these two parameters like X and Z. So Z represents the joint axis. So when it comes to link, joint one. So what are the frames? So like Z1 will be along this joint axis. So first step is I need to draw the joint axis. So what is the joint axis? Okay. So next step, all the joint axis I'll draw. So second joint axis. So second joint axis is, am I correct? Okay, second joint axis. So this is the second joint axis. And third joint. So I already said joint axis represents the Z1. So Z axis. So joint axis through two or through second joint represents Z2. Next, so this axis represents the Z3. Okay, Z3. Is it clear? So now, so this direction. So direction, I'm taking it as Z1, Z1 axis, and Z2 and Z. Then you have to assign X0, X1, X2, X3. So how to assign X1? So X1 will be normal to it. So I can take it as X1, X2, and X3. No, sorry. So this is X3, X2, and X1. Okay. So now what is the next step? First step is I have to assign uh, the joint axis and same. Okay, same. Next step is finding the DH parameters. Okay, preparing the DH table for each link. So here, total for each joints. Okay, so next I need to find the transformation matrix. Okay, so then I can apply the matrix algebra to find the unknowns. So first step, we have identified the joints and joint axis. Okay, so next we need to find out the DH parameters. So these are the joint axis. Okay, so here I have joint axis and I have represented that as so these are the DH parameters. So how to find out these DH parameters? So for each axis, so as I already said, so we are going to find the DH axis with respect to axis. So axis I minus 1 to I. Okay, so then next step is finding the transformation matrices and then finding the unknowns. So here, when you see how many axes, so I can represent, I have written 3 joints, so 3 axes. So I have not considered this end effector. Okay, so axis 1 means, so axis 1, so here first two parameters, okay, is like axis I means it varies from 0 to 1. So that means for first two parameters it gives alpha a0 alpha 0. Okay. But other two parameters it gives d1 theta 1. Similarly, for second axis means it gives the 1 and 2, like 2 and 3. So other axis it is 2 and 3. So now we'll find out these parameters, like, so can you see clearly this image? So this here, this distance is L1. So yes, Z I to Z I plus 1. Okay, I to I plus 1. So what is I here? 0 to 1. Okay, 1 to 2, 2 to 3. Okay, so now, so this is distance from Zi to Zi plus 1 measured along xi. Okay, so need to remember this is x axis and joint axis, joint 1 axis is along this direction. So like if I draw along this axis, can extend. So it is represented Z1 and x1, x2, x1 and x2. So like the point of intersection of, like what is this, Z1, Z1 and Z2. Okay, so the normal drawn through that point. Okay, so this represents like a origin. So I'll explain. So now we'll see one by one. Okay, so here you need to how to locate x-axis. So how to locate x-axis? We have located z-axis, but to locate the x-axis, So we need to look at the intersection of the planes. So suppose if you take this first joint, like this is like a second joint. So perpendicular to this plane, x-axis will be drawn perpendicular to this plane. Okay, so the z-axis is normal to this plane. Okay, similarly, if you take this joint, so this is the link. So if you draw one plane normal to this plane, you are going to look at the x3 axis. Okay, so here, so these intersection of the planes. So if these two axes intersect, z1 axis and z2 axis, intersection of the planes, and then x-axis will be normal to that. Okay, however, x-axis is parallel. So here x1 and x2 are parallel. So here x would lie on a common normal perpendicular to the plane. So here x1 and x2 are opposite to the direction of rotation of theta 2. Okay. So first we'll look at the origin frame x0, y0, z0. Okay. So now, so let us find the all the parameters ai minus 1. So what is ai minus 1? ai minus 1 is the distance. So distance between the z axis. So z axis of the two successive joints. Two successive joints. So with respect to 0 1, so this is my base frame. So or else I can also consider like this. Okay, so base frame. Okay, base frame. What is distance between z0 and z1? So both axes are intersecting, so there is the distance is 0. Next, what is alpha I minus 1? Alpha I minus 1 is angle between Z I minus 1, sorry, Z I plus 1 to Z I. So that means angle between Z1 and Z0. So what is the angle between Z1 and Z0 measured? Okay, with respect to x-axis. So it is measured with respect to x-axis. So that angle is 0. What is D1? D1 is the distance from, so these parameters, so these parameters are like 1 to, so in this case, so like I minus 1 to I. So distance between the x0 to the x1. So what is the distance? They given it as from the base to the joint. So it's okay. So revolute joint is L1. So that distance you can add it as L1. So direction is important. It is plus L1 or minus L1. How come I can decide that it is plus L1? So according to the direction of Z, so it is measured along Z. So since here Z axis, so if you take the uh, like a right hand screw rule, okay. So uh, so in this case, if the Z axis, okay, so this arrow represents the direction of Z. So along the Z axis, so L1 is measured from x0 to x0 to uh, x1 and along z1. So it is positive direction. Okay, so suppose if the direction of z1 is downward direction, okay, so I have measured from this distance from x0 to x1. In that case, it becomes minus L1. Next, theta 1. So, theta 1, you need to use this right hand screw rule. So, like with respect to Zi. So, Z1. So, like here, I is 1. So, with respect to Z1, rotation of x I minus 1 to xi. So, that means x0 to x1. So, that angle is theta 1. That means here theta 1 is the angle between x0 and x1 measured along z1. x0 is, assuming x0 is stationary, x1 would rotate in relation to x0 about z0 axis through an angle theta 1. Okay. Similarly, if you see d1 is the distance between x0 and x1 along z1 axis. Okay. So this like is offset between the two joints. So alpha I minus 1 is the angle between Z0 and Z1 about X0 axis. Okay. So similarly, A I minus 1 is the distance between the Z0 and Z1 measured along the X0 axis. Okay. So now we'll see 1 to 2. 1 to 2. So that means here x2 ai minus z like z1 to z2 angle distance between z1 to z2. So is this z2 axis, so if you see clearly z2 axis and z1 axis are intersecting. So you can see here z2 axis and z1 axis are intersecting. Okay, so Z2 and Z1 are, so here 0 0 L1 theta 1. Z1 and Z2 are axes are intersecting, so that distance is measured along x1 is 0. Next, Z1 to Z2, angle between the Z1 and Z2. So now we'll see. So what is the angle between Z1 and Z2? Measured with respect to the axis x1. So with respect to the axis x2. So what is that angle? It is 90 degree. So if you observe this z2 and z1. So this angle is 90 degree. So here if I rotate, if I want to match z2 with z1, I need to rotate this axis through 90 degree about x1 x2. Okay, so that rotation is in anti-clockwise, counterclockwise. So I said counterclockwise is like negative positive direction. So this how I can consider it as counterclockwise. This is the, like if you apply this okay screw rule. Okay, screw rule here. Okay, so if with respect to x I need to take, so this is the x axis, so this direction of L I represents the x axis and I rotate this plane z2 with respect to the x2 axis, okay, to match with the z1. So in that case, okay, so I will get that angle is 90 degree. Since it is counterclockwise, it is positive. What is d d1? D2. D2 is distance between the x1 and x2. X1, x1 and x2 axis are like both axes are intersecting. So distance between the two axes is, okay. So it is like you can consider like distance between x1 and x2 about z2, about z2. So that means if you observe this picture, so about z2 distance between the x1 and x2 is 0. So it is 0. Next, what is theta 2? Theta 2 is angle between rotation like x1 and x2. So it is again it is 0. So it is passing through same origin. So it is 0. Next, coming to third axis. So third axis, Z3 axis, X3 axis, and okay. So here, what is AI minus 1? Distance between the Z2 and Z3. So Z2 and Z3 measured along, measured along, measured along XI. So measured along XI means measured along X3. So what is this distance? Distance between Z3 and Z2. Z3 and Z2. Okay. Measured along XI means, so I think so you can take along X2. Okay, so what is alpha I minus 1? 2 to 3. Yeah, 2 to 3. So these two are parallel. These two are parallel, Z2 and Z3. So it is 0. Next, what is DI? DI is distance measured along X along Z axis. Distance from Xi minus 1. So that means X2 to X3 measured along Z3. So what is this distance? Can you tell me? So it is L2. But if you see the direction of Z3 and from this point you are going to measure distance between this axis and this axis measured along Z3. So Z3 positive sense is shown in this direction. So negative is opposite side. So I can consider this distance as minus L2. Okay, so here this theta 2 actually. So here the angle between xi minus 1 and x1, x2 is about z axis, about z3 is it is theta 3. Okay, theta 3. Is it clear? So once if you know these angles, you can apply this equation. So as we seen. Okay, so you can apply this equation and you can find the transformation matrix. Okay, so for each step you can find the transformation. Similarly, another like a link planar arm. This is also like a revolute joint. 3 revolute joints. Okay, so you can see this link parameter. So similar to previous procedure. So we are going to first locate the joint axis. So joint axis is here, Z axis is we can't see. So that it is inside the joint Z0, Z0 and Z1. So both lies at this same point. Okay. Then Z2, Z2 and Z3 and Z4. Next. Okay. Okay. So I need to wind up in 10 minutes. I'll finish, sir. Okay, so here, so I have followed the same textbook which sir shared you. So you can refer that textbook also. Okay. So chapter number 3. Okay, so here there is this RR mechanism. So link parameters. So as I said, alpha is the angle measured along x1, z1 and z2. So like z0 and z1 with respect to x-axis. So like that, you need to write the parameters and then okay. So you can see this parameters. So I will explain first step, first axis. So this is the axis. So angle between. So we'll see second axis. So this is the second axis. The distance alpha I minus 1 is the uh, angle between the x-axis. So angle between the x2 and okay. So you use this same procedure. So this is a non-planar mechanism. So you just look at it. What is the difference? You can identify. There are different possible. So if you see that there are different like by assigning the coordinates. So if you follow this, like if I assign the frames in this manner, I'll get these parameters as a1 0, alpha 1 minus 90, d1 0. Okay. So A2 is the distance measured along x-axis. I'll wind up, sir. Another 8 minutes. I'll
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So distance measured along the like x is a. Okay. Distance along z is d. Okay. So if I locate the axis in this manner, I am getting these parameters as a1 0, a2 l2 like that. So if I change the axis, so like reverse direction z2, so you may get a doubt for previous example also why I have taken z axis in upward direction only. So I can also change. Okay, so while assigning. Okay, so if I assign the coordinate axis in this manner, the parameters will change. Plus, minus, that or that sign convention will differ. Okay, so but you'll get anyway final transformation matrix will be same. So this is another thing I thought to explain, but time not there. Forward kinematics of if time permits, tomorrow I may show that. Okay, so these are the DH parameters. You have any doubts? So I will show one thing. Up to DH parameters we have seen for the previous problem. After that, you need to write this transformation matrix, and then you need to find out the final transformation matrix. Okay. So in this, it is like a 6 degree of freedom system. You are going to get the 6 transformation matrices, and then final matrix. Final matrix you need to estimate. Okay, so this last row represents px. Okay, so these coordinates position vector px, py, pz. Okay, so that can be found by multiplying this. So like from this final matrix. Okay, so you have any doubts?
Okay, it's open for questions. Yes.
Will you calculate DOF of manipulators? So what are the uses of DH, how it is used in real-time applications? So here DOF, as I explained, so revolute joint, for each revolute joint we have 1 degree of freedom. Okay. So based on that revolute joints we have, we can decide the degrees of freedom. So like this is a manipulator is of 6 joints. So we have 6 DOF, 6 degrees of freedom. What the uses?
So next question is how to use DH parameters.
What are
So
the approaches to
actually,
determine
You have 5 minutes remaining.
okay. So I'll quickly answer that question. So the uses of DH parameter, we have discussed in the last time and the last session that when we try to relate the coordinate between the ground frame and the end effector frame, we need to have a transformation matrix, right? So with the help of DH parameter, we can construct this transformation matrix, which is what in the last slide madam has shown.
yes,
Okay.
how to find DH parameters means it is like by like observation only we can find out. Okay. So but that depends on the assigning the frames. Okay. So you need to find out all the 4 parameters. First you need to assign the coordinate frames and assign the joint axis. Based on that assignment of frames and joint axis, we can determine the DH parameters. So what are the approaches means it is like it depends on assignment of the axis and frames. Okay, you have any other doubts?
Yeah.
Whether
Human
the
fingers,
DH
wrist.
parameters can be applied to human fingers and wrist collectively as a single entity.
I'm not sure what do you mean by collectively as a single entity, but yes, since
Wrist it
it
can be
has certain, yeah, even for wrist or even for fingers, for one finger, yeah, we can apply.
yes sir. So like joint, wrist joint, finger
Like a
like
revolute
joint
joint.
so you can yes sir. Like revolute joint you can consider and by you can draw the
Yeah.
kinematic diagram and you can find out the transformation matrix and DH parameters you can apply.
Okay. So for this session, one last question, maybe. Okay. Okay, since we don't have any questions from the audience, we'll end this session. And if in case if you have any questions, tomorrow morning, madam will do one more session, and you can ask questions. And tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, we have the next session. And so with that, we will wind up this session. So once again, I would like to thank ma'am for this wonderful presentation. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you all for the participation. Thank you. We'll end the meeting.